Hey everyone, welcome to Giving Back AI Education. By the end of this video, you will be able to create your own API. So what is the API anyway? API stands for Application Programming Interface. I don't want to go into too much definition of API, but instead, I just want to show you what it is by doing the hands-on example. And then I will explain you what it is exactly. For this example, we are going to use FastAPI as our framework to perform API development. So when it comes to FastAPI, there are basically three core concepts that we need to understand. First is about the path, operations, and the decorators. This is where you will define your API definitions like routes. Then you just need to define what the schemas of the API would be, what the pattern of the request and response. And finally, there comes the dependency injection. So let's get into the coding part of it. First of all, open VS Code like this. I hope you guys are able to do this. And if you do not have the terminal open, you can go to terminal right on the top and click on new terminal. So it will open up a new terminal for you. So here, first thing first, let's do Python version version. So it says Python command is not found. Why is that not found? Well, basically, let's create a virtual environment. So you can do that by typing virtual env and venv, enter. So it creates a virtual environment for you. You can see this virtual environment will also install Python for you. How do you do that? Type source venv to bin, type activate. It does activate the virtual environment for you. So how do you validate if the environment is activated? You can see venv, the name of the virtual environment, in the parenthesis here, right? So that's great. Now what is next? Now let's go back and type the same command again. Let's see what happens now. If I paste here, it says Python 3.1.3.12.6, right? So this is good. Okay, once you have this verified, now we need to install FastAPI. So you can type pip install FastAPI. It will install all the dependency for you. Then let's do pip freeze requirements.txt. Okay, so what it does is, you see all the dependent modules that we installed for FastAPI is now captured in this requirements.txt file. The next time you need to install the FastAPI that we are going to write in a different computer or different virtual environment, you can just call this requirement.txt and install the same dependent library. Okay, more of that will come in the future, but I'm just giving you a heads up now. Let's clear that and let's create a new file. You can do that by typing touch. Let's call it main.py. Okay, you can see main.py has been created right here. Now, if you open this file, it has nothing, right? So we need to create a simple FastAPI. How do you do that? Well, first of all, you need to import from FastAPI, import FastAPI, and you need to define your app equal FastAPI, call it. So at this point, you have successfully initialized the FastAPI instance from this library, right? Now, using a decorator, you can do a app.get, and then you can define your route. For example, if you say home, right, it will be available at home. I'm gonna show you in a little bit. So let's call it def read route. So takes nothing, and also returns nothing. So let's say it returns dictionary abstract. Let's call it response. Then let's type string message. This is a message from path. Okay, this is it, guys. This is all you need to write a simple API. Now, the next step is to test this API. How do we test it? First of all, we need to run this API. So to do that, we need to call unicorn. Go to your terminal and type unicorn, domain, colon, app. Just hit enter. You see here, it has started server process. Also says waiting for application to start up, and this is running on port 8000. So now you do Control plus C or Command C on Mac. So it will open up a new page like this. It says not found, and that's fine, totally fine. The thing is, if you notice here, the path we have defined is home, right? But here we have provided none. So let's go to terminal and do home. Okay, you can see response is this is a message from root path. Cool. This is interesting. We're getting the exact same message that we defined in the function here. Now the question appears here is, why is it giving us the same message? And what if there is a more complicated type of response that we want to see differently? All right, so that's where the API documentation comes in. So luckily for us, FastAPI already comes with a built-in documentation to be available at doc. You can just type docs/docs. It will open up this type of format. Okay, interesting. And if you click here, it expands the root, all the API documentation. You can click on try it now and click on execute. It will return all the response message. This is more of the like Swagger API documentation. Interesting. This is cool. Now, what if we have some specific type of message we want to return? For example, if we have a user, right? If we have a user and we need to return the data of the user, how do we do that? Well, for that case, I'm going to copy this same. Okay, I'm going to change this to root because root is usually available at slash. So I'll keep it as it is. Now, let's paste here and says user. Okay, the response of the user would be, let's say this should be user. Then user has the first name, let's say John Doe, right? Then I'm gonna close this terminal. Okay, you can do Control C, it will shut down, type again. If you do not want to do this all the time, you can just pass the flag / reload. It will automatically update things for you as the code changes. Now let's go to the API documentation and refresh. You see here another API that we added, read user is there. This is supposed to be read user. Okay, let's go to our VS Code and let's rename that to read user. Save it. Go back to your API documentation. Okay, you see here user has been updated. So all the function name is translated to your definition of the endpoint. Now here, click on try it now, execute. You see it returns user and John Doe. This is also cool, but what if we have much more complicated data? Are we going to write this all the way through? Let's say we have 500 lines of response or 1000 lines of response. How do we handle that? Well, that's where the pydantic response model comes in. So what is pydantic model? I'm going to show you the example. All right. So let's import pydantic. Import base model. Okay, from pydantic import base model. I'm going to say class. This is going to be a schema model. All right. So I'm just adding a note here for you. Schema for response. So class of user response model. Okay, and it will be inherited from the base model. So let's say I want to have the response to contain the first name of the user. First name of the user. If the data is not available, let me have at the empty string. Let's say last name, also string. Okay, and let's say email could be email string. Then you need to import email string from the Pydantic. Okay, let's say I'm going to default that to blank. Now can define this API endpoint to have this specific response format. Now what happens? It's gonna throw some error, but I'm gonna show you exactly. Okay, the response model, you can do response model equals user response model. Now see, the response model we are defining here is the user response model, but it's returning a plain dictionary. Now see what happens. To go to our API documentation, try to hit this API one more time. Okay, let's refresh. The schema is updated here. Read user, try it out, execute. Okay, it's returning a blank data, which is good. Why is it happening? Now the question is, why is that happening? Although we are setting default to return dictionary, that's because the default value here is defined as blank string. Okay, but what we do not define a default value. Now let's remove this, save it, go here, refresh, try it out, return. It says internal server error. See here, this is the error that I wanted to show you. And why is this happening? Because the response is not matching. The code is 500 and the error says internal server error. Now let's see what is the error we are getting here. And if you go to your terminal and expand a little bit more, it says raise response validation error. Why is this happening? Because we are telling our API endpoint that the response should be this model, but we are simply returning a dictionary, right? So this is the error. This is like enforcing the API to have the exact same format of the response that we desire. Okay, the way to avoid that is by returning the dictionary, by returning the user response model. Okay, and here let's say first name could be Bob. Okay, last name would be Cooler, and let's say email would be bob@cooler.com. Now remember, we are enforcing the type of the response. Okay, let's go back to our API doc. Let's try to hit our API, refresh it, try it out, execute. See here, whatever we are adding in our function, that's what we are getting as a response. This is cool. This is it, guys. Basically, we recall what we just learned here. We learned how to write a simple API endpoint. And then how do we expand the API endpoints? And also, finally, enforcing the response of the Pydantic models. So just like we are enforcing the response model here, we can also do the request model. Okay, so let's say this is a get method. For the request model, especially for the get method, you can simply say user name as string, and you can pass the same name in your response here. So let's say name, right? Now see what happens in the API now. Refresh the page. See here, it will give you a form field to enter the name. And let me try to enter something like try June. Now execute. You see in the response, Horizon is my first name and last name is same, email is whatever was hard coded. Now this is how you can pass the argument to a function or in the API and also have that reflected in your API response. All right. Just to recap, we just learned how to build a simple API. In the future, we will learn about the dependency injection and all the cool stuff that you can do with the Fast API and other frameworks. But for this video, this is it, guys. Please consider subscribing if you like this content. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.